First, right now, you're moving at roughly 1,000 miles per hour. You don't feel it, but the Earth beneath your feet is racing. But what if, in the next second, that motion just stopped? No slowing down, no warning, just a total planetary standstill. You might think we'd all just fall over. The reality? It's much more apocalyptic. Welcome to MindScape Science, and today we're exploring the physics of a stationary Earth. First, let's talk about momentum. Even if the Earth stops, the atmosphere and everything on the surface won't. Newton's first law tells us that an object in motion stays in motion. At the equator, the atmosphere would still be moving at 1,000 miles per hour. Imagine a supersonic wind gust hitting every building, tree, and living being simultaneously. The oceans would be next. Massive walls of water would sweep across continents, reaching miles inland. If you aren't at the poles, where the speed is lower, everything not anchored to bedrock would literally be launched eastward. It wouldn't just be a bad day, it would be a total restructuring of the Earth's surface. Earth isn't a perfect sphere. It's an oblate spheroid, bulging at the center because of its rotation. Without that centrifugal force, the planet would start to round out. The oceans, currently pulled toward the equator, would migrate toward the north and south poles. This creates two massive polar oceans and one giant dry supercontinent around the middle. But there's a deadlier catch: our magnetosphere. The spinning liquid metal core creates the magnetosphere that protects us from solar radiation. If the rotation stops, the shield fails. We'd be exposed to the full lethal power of the sun. If you survived the initial chaos, your biology would face a new nightmare. A day would now last a full year. You'd have 6 months of relentless, scorching daylight, followed by 6 months of freezing, pitch-black night. How would the human body adapt? Our circadian rhythms, the internal clock that governs sleep and hormones, are evolved for a 24-hour cycle. In this new world, photosynthesis would fail during the long nights, leading to a collapse of the food chain. We would become a nomadic species, forever chasing the twilight zone between the heat and the frost just to stay alive. Fortunately, physics ensures the Earth won't just stop. It's a reminder of how much our existence relies on the delicate balance of cosmic motion. If you love diving deep into the what-ifs of our universe, hit that subscribe button. This is MindScape Science, where we bring your imagination to life through the lens of logic. Until next time. But the chaos isn't just on the ground. Let's look at the sky. When the Earth stops, the friction between the stationary crust and the racing atmosphere would generate an unimaginable amount of heat. We're talking about global-scale forest fires triggered just by the air rushing past the land. Moreover, our atmosphere isn't just air. It's a complex heat distribution system. Without rotation, the Coriolis effect, the force that creates our weather patterns and trade winds, vanishes. All the warm air from the equator would rush directly toward the freezing poles in a single, permanent, violent storm. The gentle breeze you feel today would be replaced by a permanent supersonic gale that would eventually erode mountains themselves. The very air we breathe would begin to thin at the equator and pile up at the poles, making survival a matter of finding the exact altitude where the pressure remains breathable. Beyond the physics, the biological toll is staggering. Our bodies are tuned to the 24-hour circadian rhythm. This isn't just about sleep, it's about when our liver processes toxins, when our body temperature drops, and when our DNA repairs itself. On a non-spinning Earth, our internal clocks would be shattered. Without a 24-hour cycle of light and dark, humans would suffer from chronic hormonal imbalances, leading to severe depression, immune system failure, and cognitive decline. And then there's the vitamin D problem. On the night side, you'd face a permanent winter of bone-weakening darkness, while on the sun side, the unfiltered UV radiation would mutate skin cells in minutes. To survive, humanity would have to live underground or build massive mobile cities that constantly move to stay in the narrow Goldilocks zone of twilight. We wouldn't just be survivors. We would have to evolve into a completely different species just to endure our own planet. Deep beneath us, things get even weirder. Earth isn't a solid rock. It's a thin crust floating on a sea of molten mantle with a solid iron core. When the brakes are slammed on the crust, that liquid interior keeps moving due to inertia. This creates a massive internal friction. Imagine a bowl of soup that you suddenly stop spinning. The liquid inside keeps swirling and splashing against the edges. This would trigger global earthquakes of magnitudes we've never seen. Every dormant volcano on Earth would likely scream back to life as the shifting mantle forces magma through the cracks in the crust. The planet wouldn't just be still, it would be a glowing, vibrating ball of tectonic fury for centuries until the internal kinetic energy finally dissipated.